Fellow historians, there are moments in Earth's past so extraordinary that they feel like myth rather than reality. Events that should dominate textbooks, yet somehow slipped into the margins of collective memory. Today, we're diving into one of those overlooked turning points. The solar superstorm of 1859, a cosmic eruption so powerful that, had it struck our modern world, it could have collapsed global civilization within hours. Long before satellites, Wi-Fi or power grids existed, humanity came within a hair's breadth of technological annihilation, and most people today have never even heard of it. This is not just a story about space weather. It's a lesson in fragility, preparedness, and the hidden forces that have always shaped human history from beyond our planet. On September 1st, 1859, English astronomer Richard Carrington was conducting routine solar observations from his private observatory near London. He was sketching sunspots, a common practice among astronomers of the era, when he witnessed something unprecedented. A sudden flash of brilliant white light erupted from the sun's surface, brighter than anything he had ever seen. It lasted only minutes, but Carrington immediately knew he had witnessed something extraordinary. Within hours, Earth began to feel the consequences. The next day, telegraph systems across Europe and North America malfunctioned catastrophically. Operators reported sparks flying from equipment, paper catching fire, and electric shocks surging through metal lines. Some telegraph systems continued transmitting messages even after being disconnected from their power supplies, driven solely by geomagnetic energy induced in the wires. Imagine the astonishment of 19th-century engineers watching their machines seemingly possessed by invisible forces. That same night, the skies erupted in colour. Auroras, normally confined to polar regions, appeared across the tropics. Witnesses in Havana, Rome, and even rural regions near the equator reported crimson and emerald curtains rippling across the heavens. Newspapers described the sky as blood red and burning like dawn. In parts of North America, the auroras were so bright people woke up thinking morning had arrived. Farmers began preparing breakfast before realizing it was still midnight. To historians, these accounts are invaluable primary sources. They remind us that before satellites and digital sensors, eyewitness testimony was humanity's most important scientific instrument. By cross-referencing global reports, researchers later confirmed that the storm's intensity exceeded anything recorded in modern times. What Carrington witnessed was a massive solar flare followed by a coronal mass ejection, a billion-ton cloud of charged particles hurled toward Earth at millions of kilometers per hour. When it struck our planet's magnetic field, it triggered one of the most powerful geomagnetic storms in recorded history. Today we understand the physics. Charged particles distort Earth's magnetosphere, inducing electrical currents in long conductors like power lines and cables. Back in 1859, the world's only large electrical network was the telegraph system. It was primitive, sparse and analog, yet even that minimal infrastructure was nearly destroyed. Now consider our present-day technological ecosystem: satellites, aviation systems, global internet cables, GPS networks, financial servers, and electrical grids spanning continents. A storm of similar magnitude today would not merely disrupt communications. It could, in fact, trigger cascading global infrastructure failure. Many people assume solar storms are the concern of astronomers and engineers, not historians. But this event proves otherwise. History is shaped not only by kings and wars, but by cosmic forces. The 1859 storm demonstrates, three crucial historical truths. First, technological vulnerability is not a modern invention. Even early electrical systems prove fragile when exposed to natural forces. Second, societies rarely prepare for threats they have never experienced. And third, forgotten events are often the most dangerous because they vanish from cultural memory and therefore from planning. For us as historians, recovering these overlooked episodes is, more than academic curiosity. It is an act of preservation, ensuring humanity remembers lessons written not in ink, but in solar fire. The most chilling aspect of the 1859 storm is how little damage it actually caused relative to its power. That was not because it was weak. It was because humanity's technological footprint was still small. There were no satellites to fry, no national grids to collapse, no aviation networks to disrupt. The storm struck a world largely insulated by its own simplicity. In other words, civilization survived not because it was prepared, but because it was primitive. This distinction matters. If the same event occurred today, transformers could fail across continents. Recovery could take months or even years, since high-voltage transformers are difficult to manufacture and replace. Global supply chains would stall. Banking systems could go offline. Emergency services could lose communication. Food distribution could halt. Historians often ask how ancient societies collapsed. The more urgent question may be how our own could. At the time, Carrington presented his findings to the Royal Astronomical Society, carefully documenting the solar flare and the subsequent geomagnetic disturbances. His report established the first confirmed link between solar activity and Earth's magnetic storms. This was revolutionary. Until then, the Sun had been viewed as constant and unchanging. Carrington's observation proved it was dynamic and sometimes violent. If you found this deep dive fascinating and want more hidden chapters of history that textbooks overlook, make sure you subscribe to ERAFUSION History and share this with a fellow history lover. Because the more we uncover the past, the better prepared we are for the future.